Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. So we know that the supply cup is coming with this Bentley Continental GT convertible. Unfortunately for us, most of the Bentleys are not that great in this game. Obviously, if you have a maxed Bentley from any prior event, the supply cup won't be an issue. But for those of you who are new and never driven a Bentley before, you'll find that this car is not all that great when you put it to max evo for any purpose of beating dyno, and that means supply cups won't be that easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my easy supply cup setup for the Bentley GT convertible. Remember, you can always run it stock. You can always run it with 2 stage of nitrous. Those techniques work as well. But mine is guaranteed to make sure that you run through without any headaches throughout the event and beat dyno by plenty in the process, which means your opponents will be slower opponents. So as you can see, I'm still upgrading my Bentley here on my account. I have not bothered to put any fusions in at this point because you don't need them for the purpose of supply cup. Obviously, if you put fusions in, the tune will be different. You may have to then tweak what I'm showing you, but a safe bet would be to put it to 2.0. I'll explain that in a minute. Now, one thing you don't want to put would be these 3 stages, because these would make it harder and at some point impossible to beat dyno. You want to leave only nitrous body, tire, and trans in, if any stages. And if you're not sure, you can even leave body out. It could be simply nitrous, tire, and trans. That's a simple TNT tune. And it's one of the fundamental structures you use to discover tuning with any car, because those are the 3 parts that trigger tuning. Now, once you have that done, it's very simple to get the dyno beating. Nitrous can be wherever you have the best duration to make it comfortable for you. I don't think you want it too long because it won't be powerful enough, but somewhere around 2.8, 2.5 to 3 would all be good. You can see the evo changes depending on where you put it. Tire 0-100 simply because you want to trigger a negative evo drop tune, and then the final piece would be the final drive. Depending again on your fusion status, where the car is, the final drive can either be 2.0, which will be a negative 8 to 900 depending on where you have the car. If you have more tire fusions in, this number will be different. Any fusions in any of the parts will change that number, but what you're looking for isn't just that number. What you're looking for is the difference between this and this. What happens is, I've shown this in other supply cup videos, but the real simple point here is that some cars have a cutoff point based on grip versus power, where it does what I call a evo cliff drop, and that cliff drop is what makes it beat dyno by a substantial amount. Particularly for supply cups, this is important. When you see these little changes as you click down, that's not a cliff drop. That is simply a bad tune. But when you get to, for example, here, 2.22 versus 2.23 versus 2.24, you see this big change, 200 to 600. That's a cliff drop. That kind of a drop gives you a dyno beating tune. So 9.954 versus, theoretically, at a more optimal tune, 9.3. That gives you a margin of basically 6/10. Now, is it going to run that much faster? Not really, but what it will do is basically run the quarter mile, because supply cups are quarter mile, okay? The quarter mile will be beaten by your dyno by the amount of difference between the two, somewhere in between. So between 9.3 and 9.9 is where you're going to run, but it's going to be substantially faster than 9.9. Most of the time, you want to not hit exact perfect when you launch the car. What you want to do is basically launch it slightly early, and you just drive it normal. Whoops. Okay, all right. I screwed up a little bit there. I double-clicked 3rd to 4th, but it won't make a difference. Okay. The 4th gear is going to hurt there. So what I did is I jumped a gear, so I only did dyno. But again, let's look at the dyno. It's 9.9. I did 9.9. Okay, so that was bad, mainly because I double shifted. Let's do it again. This time I will actually not skip out a 3rd. You want to shift near perfect for this tune. Let's go take care of that. Let's do it different, slightly different. Okay, third gear is important to be on nitrous. That is your dyno beating difference right there. If you jump to fourth, you won't be beating dyno, so it wouldn't be as much good. All right, now, so that run coming back, 9.4 versus dyno of 9.9. How does that help you in supply cup? Because supply cup, so far, and unless Natural Motion changed it with this update, because this is the first one, it would be basically based on your car's dyno. Your opponents are picked based on your car's dyno. They always run about a tenth slower to 2/10 slower than your dyno, basically all the way through the supply cup. But near the very end, in the last 5 races, sometimes the opponent's right there on your dyno. So you don't want to have a car that barely touches dyno for your supply cup runs, because ultimately it's going to make you lose, or it makes you frustrated. You're going to be doing some tough runs where you have to shift absolutely perfectly. In this case, with the margin of error, even at race 20 to 25, you should be having the other guy basically half the track, well, maybe not half the track, a third of the track behind you, making a comfortable lead for you to beat supply cup. 25 races, I don't like to spend more than 25 pips of gas to do it, because it's ultimately just a grind to get some parts and some RP. Live racing is a different, whole different thing, so please do not rely on these kind of tunes for that. That's a different ball game. And Prestige Cup is a completely different cup without regard to your dyno, so please do not rely on this for that either. That is purely an upgraded base cup. You have to upgrade your car for that. So don't confuse these things. This is purely for supply cup only. All right, you can also use this incidentally for restriction trials. If the restriction is no no engine, no intake, no whatever, obviously this concept works perfectly for restriction trials. Okay? All right. Well, that's it. That's my seasonal convertible GT Bentley supply cup, easy supply cup tune. Only reason I'm putting this up is because Bentleys in general are not that great at beating dyno, so you may struggle with the supply cup, so I figured this video might be helpful. I don't do this for every car, because some cars beat dyno naturally. Some cars have so many variety already in the game that most people don't need a supply cup tune. But this car, I think this will be helpful. If it helped you, and you used this video, then please leave a like so I know that it helped you out. If you like my videos and would like to get notifications, then please subscribe so you can get those notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my video. I'll catch you next time.